Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're breaking down the exact blueprint you need to conquer the CAT 2026 exam and step right into your dream B school. You know, it's actually amazing how much of the guesswork you can totally eliminate once you know the playbook. Okay, let's jump right in with the ultimate question driving pretty much every MBA aspirant. How exactly do you secure a median package of over 25 lakhs per annum at a top IIM? Well, crushing the CAT exam is literally the most crucial step to get there, setting you up for a completely accelerated career trajectory. To get there, we're taking a modular approach today. We'll start by decoding the CAT 2026 pattern, jump into section-by-section strategies, map out your month-wise master plan, talk about maximizing mock tests, and finally go over some common mistakes you absolutely need to avoid. All right, Section 1, decoding the CAT 2026 pattern. Let's establish the rules of the game right up front. So your 120-minute battlefield looks exactly like this. You've got 68 questions split across 3 sections, adding up to 204 marks. But the real kicker here? The strict 40-minute limit per section. Switching back and forth is absolutely not allowed. The second your 40 minutes for verbal ability are up, that's it. You have to be completely locked into the section right in front of you. And we really need to talk about this crucial dynamic. Every single incorrect multiple choice answer docks you a full mark. Sure, every correct answer gets you +3, but that -1 penalty, it is brutal. Careless guessing will literally destroy your overall score. The only exception is the type in the answer, or TITA questions, which don't have negative marking. But for the rest of the test, accuracy is just as critical as speed. Moving on to Section 2, section-by-section battle strategies. Because trust me, what works for math is definitely not going to save you in reading comprehension. Let's start with verbal ability and reading comprehension, or VRC. Your core philosophy here has to be building what experts call RC stamina. You're going to get hit with 400 to 600 word passages on pretty abstract topics. Think economic sociology, ecology, or literary criticism. You really need the mental endurance to track a dense argument from start to finish without zoning out. To build that stamina, you need to be reading the right stuff right now. We're talking Aeon magazine and the opinion sections of The Economist. Plus, practice pulling out the underlying gist quickly instead of obsessing over every single word. Try to hit 4 to 5 reading comprehension passages every single day to build up that muscle. Oh, and a super interesting trend we saw in the data, parajumbles have definitely made a comeback, so absolutely do not skip those in your prep. Okay, let's pivot to data interpretation and logical reasoning. Honestly, this section is a bit of a minefield. A single mistake doesn't just mess up one question, it tanks the entire set. Trying to attempt everything is a guaranteed way to wreck your score, so quality is vastly more important than quantity here. The math behind the strategy here is actually mind-blowing. Getting just 15 to 18 questions right, which is essentially just 3 out of the 4 data sets, is typically all you need to hit that massive 99th percentile mark. So your primary tactic? Spend the first 5 to 7 minutes just scanning to find the easiest sets. Never try to tackle all 22 questions, and ruthlessly bail on a set if it gets too messy. Finally, we hit quantitative ability. Now, unlike VARC, QA is highly predictable. Success here relies entirely on having a rock-solid mathematical foundation in algebra, arithmetic, and geometry, and memorizing those fundamental equations. If you're feeling a bit rusty, look, there is no shame in swallowing your pride and grabbing some Class 10 NCERT books to clear up the basics. Once that foundation is solid, you've got to build and memorize calculation shortcuts so you can fly through the questions. And remember, always time yourself when practicing. Speed and accuracy really have to go hand in hand here. All right, Section 3, month-wise master study plan. Now that we have the tactics, we need a timeline. You really can't sprint for 12 months straight, right? So here's how you pace it out. February through May is strictly for clearing up those foundational basics and building your reading habits. June and July, that's for concept review and dipping your toes into mock tests. By August and September, you hit the CAT funda phase, concepts, application, and tests, getting completely familiar with every topic. October is just about locking in your strategies, no new chapters. And November is purely for final assessments, mental prep, and selective revision. Which brings us to Section 4, maximizing your mock tests. This is your absolute secret weapon as you get closer to exam day. The magic number you're aiming for is 25.
That means hitting a minimum of 25 full-length mock tests in those final 4 months. You'll want to do about 2 a week in September and October, and then ramp that up to 2 or 3 a week by November.
But here is the massive secret most candidates completely miss. Taking the test is literally only half the battle. After you finish that 2-hour mock, you need to spend another full 2 hours analyzing it. Go through every wrong answer, every skipped question, and even the ones you got right, just to make sure your logic wasn't a fluke. When you get something wrong, don't just blindly practice more. Relearn the core concept so you never make that same mistake twice. And to keep track of all this, you absolutely must maintain an error log. Write down exactly why you missed a question. Was it a silly calculation error, a conceptual gap, or were you just panicking because of the timer? Reviewing this log every week is literally one of the highest ROI habits you can build. It turns your failures into an exact roadmap for success. Finally, Section 5, Common Mistakes to Avoid. Let's talk about the fatal traps that trip up hardworking candidates every single year. First off, you can't just read theory without doing active, chapter-wise practice. Knowing a formula is totally different from applying it under pressure. Second, skip the irrelevant reading material. Stick to structured nonfiction for VARC. Third, don't fall into the comfort trap of only studying what you're already good at. You have to attack your weaknesses early on. And please, whatever you do not delay your mock tests because you feel unprepared. The mocks literally are the preparation. And this brings us to perhaps the most critical warning of this entire explainer. The CAT has strict individual cutoffs for VARC, DILR, and QA, meaning an astronomical overall score will not save you if you completely bomb one section. A balanced performance is absolutely non-negotiable if you want that interview call. You have to track your sectional performance separately, and you have to be diligent about it. So you now have the ultimate playbook to navigate the 120-minute constraints, balance your sections, and crush those high-value mock tests. But look, strategy is nothing without execution. In an exam designed to test your stamina and exploit your weaknesses, the real question isn't just how hard you'll study. It's this: when that clock starts ticking, will you be reacting to the exam, or will you be dictating the terms of your own success?